This is our second class. Okay, Katia León. Katia.
Presente, teacher.
Alan Camargo.
Present, teacher.
Diógenes Montezuma. Alain Morales.
Present, teacher.
Brittany. Brittany. Celine. David.
Present, teacher.
Edith Rodríguez. Elianis.
Present, teacher.
Franklin. Giovelis. Juan Antonio. Leonel. Ligia. Lisa. Mariluz Montezuma.
Present, teacher.
Misael. Odalis. Rafael.
Hello. Good morning, teacher.
Okay. Rosa.
Present, teacher.
Roselyn.
Present, teacher.
Jocelyn. Jocelyn. Ok. ¿Hay alguna persona a la cual no haya llamado?
Yo, profe.
Maybelis. Maybelis.
Sí, teacher.
Maybelis. Okay, Maybelis. Okay, that's all. Okay, students. Today, as I told you, we will have a test. The test is 10 items. So the only thing you are going to do is to write in a piece of paper from 1 to 10 your name and your ID. I'm going to present the statements in a PowerPoint presentation, and we are going to write only the answer. So the first thing we are going to do today is a review about last class. So let's see. Okay, there is something I want to share. Rosalind, could you read the reflection, the thought, the good thought for today?
Si no puedes volar, corre. Si no puedes correr, camina. Si no puedes caminar, gatea. Pero hagas lo que hagas, tienes que salir adelante.
Thank you, Rosalind. Si no puedes volar, corre. Si no puedes correr, camina. Si no puedes caminar, gatea. Pero hagas lo que hagas, tienes que seguir adelante. Es un pensamiento para el día de hoy que nos invita a hacer nuestro mayor esfuerzo cada vez que tengamos la oportunidad. Que siempre tenemos una manera de seguir adelante y que es importante seguir luchando, seguir avanzando para conseguir nuestras metas, nuestros anhelos. ¿Alguien quiere contribuir con una idea, una opinión con respecto a esta reflexión? No one? Okay. So let's begin with a review about last class. The last class we talked about language. What is language? We talked about the characteristics of language and also about what is accent, dialect, socio-dialect, and idiolect. So let's see, in order to review before doing the test. Okay, one student, what is language in your own words? What is language? What is language?
Teacher,
Mm-hmm.
the language for me is a tool that the human use for exchange information, different type of feelings or emotions, uh, message, things like that. It's a tool.
Good. Another student? Remember, it's your own definition. What is language? What is language?
Is the able that have the human that communicated and is the unique species
Mm-hmm. Good, good.
that have this um, capacity of communicate with the language.
Good. Language, you said, is the capacity human beings have to transmit, to communicate with others. Good. It's the way how humans transmit things. What kind of things do humans transmit by using language? We can transmit thoughts, ideas, feelings, emotions, instructions, commands. That's language. But there are different types of language. Now we are talking, but what other ways to transmit language do humans have? Do you remember? As I explained last class, something like this. What is this?
Sorry, teacher, I couldn't.
We transmit Edith, you are here. Different types of language. Do you remember if I do something like this? What is this?
Buenos días, profe. Disculpe la
Good morning.
tardanza.
Good morning, Edith. Students, remember, as we use words to transmit, we can use our body. If we do something like this, we are using movement, gestures. When we express something, we use facial expressions as or our gestures as these gestures, this movement, our facial expressions are ways we transmit things, and this is language too. So there are different types of language. We have the oral, written,
Sign language.
sign language, good, sign language, movement, gestures, all of these are parts of language, different types of language. Very good. I think you are clear what is language and the different types of language. So, what is linguistics? Remember, I want to review because we have a test. What is linguistic? Your own definition. What is linguistics?
Is the characteristic of the language of the local person.
Linguistics. Another definition? Good. Another
Eh,
definition?
Edith,
Edit.
linguistic is or communication of the other being human is the system study of human language.
Okay. Good. Linguistics is the systematic study of language. So linguistics study all the characteristics of human language. That is linguistic and is a science. Okay, what does a linguist have to do? Linguist. Linguist is different than linguistics. Linguistics is a science that studies all the characteristics of language. So what is a linguist? Linguist is the person that studies linguistics. Okay? And what is a polyglot? Polyglot.
Yes, it's who could speak other
Hello.
language,
Huh?
different
What
language.
is polyglot?
Polyglot is the person can talk different language.
Excellent. Is the person who is able to talk different languages. Good. What is a translator? Translator.
It's the person who help people to translate conversation.
Okay. That is interpreter. Interpreter and translator
Sorry.
are different. When I talk about translator, is the person who translates from one language to another. For example, I have a text in Spanish. I'm going to translate into English. That is a translator. This is in a written way, in a written form. What is interpreter? Interpreter is the person that translates, but in a simultaneous way. The person talks, the person interprets. It's something that is simultaneous. He's speaking in English, I'm talking in Spanish. I'm translating, interpreting the words he or she says. It's something that is at the same moment. Good, you are clear. Now, 4 different words. What is accent? Accent.
Repeat, teacher.
What is accent?
Is the different characteristics of the Spanish where como Panamanian speak, none is the same that Colombian uh, pronunciation. Is different.
Okay. Is the particular intonation or pronunciation that is characteristic of a region or a place or a country. Okay, as you said, is the way as we use the same language into different places. Oh, tu tai perdido is the dialect or is accent?
Is the accent.
What do you think? Is dialect or is accent?
Accent.
Accent.
Do you think it's accent? If I said, oh, tu tai perdido. If I said, for example, este carro es rojo. Este carro es rojo. Este carro es rojo.
All right, yeah. Dialect. It's dialect because teacher. It's dialect because it's the same language, but have different sound, different articulation.
When we use different intonation as for example, in Mexico, they say, ay no, masito, yo le dije a mi patroncita. In Mexico. Yes or no? Yo le dije a mi patroncita que viniera por acá. That is Mexican. If I said something like, de ahí mae. ¿Son qué? Ticos. But it's different when we talk about accent and the use of words. If I say, yo le dije a mi patroncita, that is accent. Why? Because I don't change words. The only thing I changed was the intonation and the pronunciation, but the words are the same. When I talk about dialect, I change some word. Di, my, tai, perdido is the use of language in a different region. But when I talk about only the pronunciation, I'm talking about accent. When I use the language in different ways, it's dialect, the same language, but in different ways. But when I'm talking about social dialect, is the use of word in specific region. As I told you, if I talk, we have turrulita, pastelito, totorrones. So we are talking about the same thing, but in different regions, it has different names. That is social dialect. If we are talking about this in Chiriquí, we said pastelito, totorrone, oh, what is the other?
Changuita.
Changuita. So it is the same thing, but in different regions, they have different names for the same thing. And idiolect is the word that a person uses as him or herself word. Is proper of that person, okay? Remember, accent is the pronunciation and the intonation in different places. Accent. For example, we have the British accent and the American accent. For example, we have 20, we have water, we have water, we have brother, brother. That is accent. Dialect is the use of words in different regions. Social dialect, how in the same word is used, the same thing with different words. As I explained, chiquillo, chaval, chamaco, pelao. And idiolect is a word that a person uses and takes the word as him or herself word. Okay. We review the different concepts and now we are going to do that test. So let's explain the rules to do the test. In a piece of paper, it can be like this, something small. You are going to write your name and your ID. Your name and your ID. And you are going to write numbers from 1 to 10. Okay? Let's do it right now. From 1 to 10. I'm going to present a PowerPoint with the statement and you are going to write only the answer. So let's do it. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do this. Your name, your ID, and numbers from 1 to 10.
Wait, teacher, I'm looking for a paper.
Okay, you have 3 minutes to do this.
Teacher, excuse me, I have problems in my computer. I don't know what happened, but you can repeat this thing you say. Sorry, it's
Okay,
not connected.
yes,
Right
yes.
now I am in my cell phone. Sorry.
Okay, the only thing you have to do is in a piece of paper, write your name, your ID, and numbers from 1 to 10. From 1 to 10.
Okay, teacher.
Name, ID, and number from 1 to 10.
Repeat, teacher.
Okay, in a piece of paper, write your name, your ID, and numbers from 1 to 10, as I have here, from 1 to 10.
From 1 to 10.
Ajá. En un pedacito de papel o en una página, escribe su nombre, su cédula y los números del 1 al 10. Así como está en el ejemplo, as I present in the example.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay? When you finish, you are going to take a picture and send me to my WhatsApp. Cuando terminamos los 10 ítems, usted le va a tomar una foto y lo envía a mi WhatsApp. ¿Ok? Ok, may I begin? ¿Puedo empezar?
Excuse me, teacher. Wait a minute.
Okay.
I don't know what items I have to write. Can
Okay,
you
don't
explain,
worry.
please?
Don't worry. Only write from 1 to 10. Only
Right.
write.
All right.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm going to present one by one. Okay, if you have the numbers, so we're going to begin. Are you ready?
Yes, teacher.
Okay.
Yes,
Number 1. This is number 1. It is used to transmit knowledge, wishes, feelings, ideas, opinions, and commands. It is used to transmit knowledge, wishes, feelings, ideas, opinions, and commands. What is? Idioms.
I select the letter or I select
Exactly.
the
You
word.
are going to write the letter.
Right.
Idioms, language, words, or symbols. What is the answer? A, B, C, or D? Idioms, language, words, or symbols? Ready? Okay, let's go to the next. Number 2. How was language invented? How was language invented? It was a biological phenomenon. It was a cultural phenomenon. Or humans learn language from animals. How was language invented? It was a biological phenomenon. It was a cultural phenomenon, or humans learn a language from animals? Write your answer. Number 3. Which of these is correct? Language is a system of communication that use voice sounds, gestures, written symbols, or all of these. Language is a system of communication that uses voice sounds, gestures, written symbols, or all of these.
Is yes or no, teacher?
No, mami. You have to write the letter. Usted pone la letra en el espacio. A, B, C, or D. Next. Number 4. These are other ways of communication. These are other ways of communication. Gestures, voice, pictures. Gestures, voice, pictures. Let's go to the next. He or she is a person that knows and domains many languages. Is the person that speaks many languages. Linguist, translator, polyglot, interpreter. What is the answer? Linguist, translator, polyglot, interpreter. Number 6. He or she is a person that studies a particular language and its rule. Is the person that studies languages. Linguist, translator, polyglot, or interpreter. Next, number 7. He or she is a person that translates words from one language to another. A person that translates from one language to another. Linguist, translator, polyglot, or interpreter.
Excuse me, teacher. Can I set up the number 5? I don't see the number 5.
Okay, at the end, I'm going to repeat. Okay,
Right,
don't
right.
worry.
Thank you.
Don't worry. Let's go to number 8. He or she is a person that interpret orally one language to another simultaneously. Linguist, translator, polyglot, interpreter. Linguist, translator, polyglot, interpreter. Let's go to the next. Number 9. A particular form of a language which is peculiar to a specific region or social group. A particular form of a language which is peculiar to a specific region or social group. And the last one, number 10. A speaker distinctive pronunciation which marks
Teacher.
his,
Por favor, la anterior que no.
Ok, don't worry, no se preocupe, yo las voy a repetir todas nuevamente.
Okay.
Speaker distinctive pronunciation, which marks his or her regional identity. Socio-dialect, dialect, language, accent. Okay, these are the 10 items. So I'm going to repeat briefly all of them. Okay, let's go back. Ahora usted tiene oportunidad de verificar cualquier cosa. Si usted la hizo mal, le pasa una rayita y la pone al lado. Usted tiene la oportunidad de revisar nuevamente, ¿ok? Let's go.
Gracias.
Number 1, it is used to transmit knowledge, wishes, feelings, ideas, opinions, and commands. Answers are idioms, language, words, symbols. Okay, number 2, how was language invented? It was a biological phenomenon. It was a cultural phenomenon. Humans learn language from animals. Number 3, which of these is correct? Which of these is correct? Language is a system of communication that uses voice sounds, gestures, written symbols, or all of these. What is the answer? Voice sounds, gesture, written symbols, all of this. Number 4, these are other ways of communication. Gestures, voice, pictures. Gestures, voice, pictures. Number 5, he or she is a person that knows and domains many languages. He or she is a person that knows and domains many languages. Linguist, translator, polyglot, interpreter. Number 6, he or she is a person that studies a particular language and its rules. Linguist, translator, polyglot, interpreter. Number 7, he or she is a person that translates words from one language to another language. Linguist, translator, polyglot, interpreter. Number 8, he or she is a person that interprets from one language to another simultaneously. From one language to another simultaneously. Linguist, translator, polyglot, interpreter. Number 9, a particular form of language which is peculiar to a specific region or social group. Socio-dialect, dialect, language, accent. And the last one, number 10, a speaker distinctive pronunciation which marks his or her regional identity. Socio-dialect, dialect, language, accent. Okay, this was your test. Now take a picture and send the picture to my WhatsApp. Okay? Do
Your
it right
personal
now.
WhatsApp teacher.
Yes, this WhatsApp. Lo envía a ese número que está ahí immediately. Remember your name and your ID. Okay.
Okay, teacher. I see the picture.
Okay. Camargo. Edith. Roselyn. Taylor Mabelis. Rosa García. Ay, santo, se le fue la luz aquí a una chica. Bueno. Ok, Elianis. Okay, while you are sending the messages, I'm going to continue with the class, okay? Now we're going to continue with our class today. And today we're going to talk about linguistics and its definition. So let's talk about what is linguistics and the different branches of linguistics. We're going to try to work fast. Okay, so Alan, could you read the definition of linguistics?
Teacher, I see bad this thing.
Okay, let's see another student.
No, it's because I can see. Okay, I go change the position of my cell phone.
Probably. It's because when we use our cell phones, it's not the same that when we use the computer. I understand it's difficult to read and appreciate the PowerPoint when we use our cell phones.
Okay, now it's okay. Now it's okay. Okay, the discipline of linguistics focus on theories of language structure, variations and use, the description and documentation of contemporary language, and the implications of theories of language for understanding of the mind and brain, human culture, social behavior,
Behavior.
behavior, and language learning and teaching.
Thank you. So what does it mean? That when we talk about linguistics, as I told you, is a science that study language. But when we talk about language, it means the linguistic study, the social context, the cultural context, the variations of the language, pronunciation, accent, the roots of the language, and all of these aspects that are related to language. So now we are going to see today the different aspects that linguistics study. So says is something that is scientific, and what is the purpose of linguistics? Is to study the competence, the acquisition, and the performance of language. When we talk about competence, is what is knowledge of language, how much do we know about language? That is competence. All the things, all the information I have about language. Acquisition, how the language is acquired. It may be first language acquisition or second language acquisition, how a person acquires the language. And performance, how do we use, how we put into practice the use of language. These are the purposes of linguistics. Okay, the importance of language. So let's see. Diogenes is not here. Edith, could you read the importance of language? Rosa García, no, Rosa Gania o García. Could you read, Rosa?
Ay, disculpe, profe, lo que pasa es que estaba desactivado y no lo había visto. ¿Puedo leerlo?
Yes, of course.
Important of language. 1. The most important tool ever invented. 2. Distinguish us from other characters. See?
Yes.
3. Provides a medium to think effectively, communicate impersonally, and collaborate with other people in world. Impossible to imagine a world without language.
Thank you so much. Okay. These are the reasons why language is important, is the most useful, the most important tool that humans have, because we need language to communicate, to transmit, distinguish us from other creators. So it is a characteristic of human beings and provides a medium to think effective, to transmit effective our position, and says finally that it's impossible to imagine a word without language. Okay, now we are going to study the branches of linguistics, and this is something that is very important. When we talk about branches, we are talking about the different areas that linguistics study. So these areas are phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. Let's see phonetics. What is phonetics? Okay. Phonetics is concerned with the physical manifestation of language in sound waves and how they are produced, transmit, perceive, and also provides methods for their description, classification, and transcription. Phonetic deals with the production of speech sounds by humans, often without prior knowledge of the language being spoken. Okay. My own definition is that phonetics study the sounds. How human beings pronounce the different sounds, how the sound is produced, but it's the physical representation of the sound. That is phonetic. How human beings pronounce the different sounds. So it is important to know when we are going to talk about phonetics is the different parts of our vocal tract, our face, we use to produce this sound. So this picture is only in order to illustrate the different parts of our face we use to produce sounds. We use our lips, our teeth, our tongue, our alveolar ridge, our vocal cords, and different parts of our body to produce sounds. When we talk, when we produce a sound, we use different parts, which is sound. So the sounds are classified according to the place of articulation and how the sound is produced, that is manner. So let's see briefly the different places of articulation. And this is going to take most of our time today, but it is important to know the different parts we use to produce a sound. Let's see. Okay, the sounds according to the places of articulation are classified into bilabial, labiodental, interdental, dental, alveolar, velar, palatal, glottal. So I use this phrase to classify the sounds. Blidap, blidap, VG. The places of articulation are the parts of our vocal tract and our face we use to produce these sounds. Okay, let's talk about bilabial sounds. These sounds are called bilabial because we use both lips, upper and lower lips, to produce these sounds. As when we pronounce b, w, w. Okay, so let's see when we talk about as in pen, pot, park. These are bilabial sounds. Book, baseball, bar, mouth, man, mouse, water, window, widow, widow. Okay, if you pay attention, we use both lips. As in mouse, bar, park. For this reason are called bilabial sounds, both lips. Questions about this? No? No questions? Bilabial because we use both lips, upper and lower lips. Then we have the labiodental sounds. Labiodental because we use lower lip and upper teeth. And as in fan. Food. At home you may repeat. Practice at home. Phone. Food. Fan. Vote. Vegetables. Van. Okay. Labiodental. Lower lip and upper teeth. Let's see the next group of words. Then we have the interdental. Interdental because our tongue tip is this. In the middle of our teeth. And you see that is interdental. Our tongue tip in the middle of our teeth. Examples: think. Practice at home. Think. Think. South. South. With. In the middle of our teeth. The next sounds. This is different to our de. de we know in Spanish. Sorry. In Spanish, we have de dedo. This is another sound of the, as in either, either, either. So that tongue is in the middle of our teeth, either, feather, feather, that, that. We don't say the, we don't say the book. No, it's the book, the book. Feather, either. That is interdental sound. So let's repeat. Think,
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 south,
south,
with.
with,
Either,
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 either.
that. Okay, we have listen that bilabial, labiodental, and interdental. Now let's go the next sound. The next sound are the dental sound. The dental sounds are the sounds we use in Spanish. For native speakers, they say that they are alveolar sounds, but in Spanish, we use this as a dental sound, as in te, 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 de, 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 da, 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 da. Okay, as we use in Spanish, tomate, diente, tomate, diente. So in English, we say teacher, tank, time, two. Teacher, tank, time, two. Desk, dog, drink, day. Okay, these are the dental sounds. Dentals because we put our tongue in the back part of our teeth, as in the. Dental sounds. Let's continue with the other sounds are the alveolar sounds. The alveolar sounds are sounds that are produced by advancing the tip of the tongue toward the alveolar ridge. What is the alveolar ridge? The alveolar ridge is, I'm going to touch this, is this part of our mouth. This is alveolar ridge because we put our tongue in this part of our mouth. So let's practice the sound of noon, noon,
Noon.
nurse,
Nurse,
nurse, nip, nip, lemon,
lemon,
lion,
lion,
lord.
lord,
Okay, so the next sound is the as in city,
city,
sun,
sun,
nice.
nice,
This is very similar to the S we know in Spanish, as in sapo, as in sostén. City, sun, nice. City, sun, nice.
nice.
The other sound is z, z, zebra,
Zebra,
zip,
seal,
is.
is,
We don't have to say is.
Is.
Let's continue. Exactly, good. Let's continue with the next sound. Then we have the palatal sounds. The palatal sounds are consonants articulate with the body of our tongue. Rise again the hard palate. Okay, when we say the body of our tongue is this part. With this part of our tongue. No tongue tip. This is tongue tip. So we're going to use this part to pronounce the palatal sound. Okay. So these sounds are articulated with this part of our tongue, the body of our tongue, against the palate. Against the palate. So let's practice the sound. Como cuando usted espanta los pollos, que usted le dice, like this. Shower. Shower.
Shower.
Sugar. Sheep. Sheep. Good. So, this is like acá. Television. Sorry. Television. This television. Gate. Garage. This is the sound. Then we have the other sound that, as we know, the sound of che. In Spanish we said che, chayote, chayan. So this is the sound in English. This sound, choose, share, match. This sound is very similar to the sound of che we know in Spanish. Choose, share, match. Match is different to this. This is shower, sugar, sheep. Choose, share, match. The sound is different. Then
more stronger.
Now we have this is like job, gym, rich. Then we have the sound of as in river, read, run. And we have this sound that is a semi-vowel that is like e. This is the sound. As in use. University. We don't say university, it's wrong. And university, it's wrong. It's university. Use. Then we have the other sounds are the velar sounds. As these sounds are produced in this part. Sing good. And this sound is and this sound is and this is Okay, let's see the examples. Cake. Car. Cat. And then let's see. Gun. Grape. Glue. Okay, and this sound that is like N with G plus, as in king. Nothing. John. Nothing. John. These are the velar sounds. And finally, we have the last sound, that is the glottal sound, that is like as in house. Here. He. Him. Okay. These are the different places of articulation. Now we're going to see the different manners of articulation. When we talk about the manners of articulation, we're talking how the sound is produced. When we said place is where, in what part, where. Now, when we talk about manners is how, okay? And we have stops, fricative, affricates, nasals, liquids, and glide. So I'm gonna try to go fast. So in phonetics, a consonant stop is a sound made by complete block airflow of air and then releasing it. Also are called plosive. Why? Because the air stop when we produce this sound as in ba. It's like explosion. D. Is something for this reason are called plosive. Okay, but when we have the sound of at the beginning, it's like explosion. For example, when you said the word peace, peace is like explosion. Pear, peace, poison,
Poison.
it's like explosion. Book. I'm going to do something. If I put a piece of paper,
Yes.
and I'm going to say, what happened with my page? Book. The page moved because there is a flow of air come out from my mouth. Okay, that is the explosion. So they are stops. Stop. Then we have other type of sound, are the fricative sound. Fricative sounds are consonant sounds and are produced by bringing the mouth into position to block the passage of air. So this is different. It's not like explosion like in. In this, the air is blocked, as in. So we block the passage of the air. And we don't close totally our mouth, but we block the passage of air when we say it's not like when we pronounce a vowel, we say E, O, In this, we stop briefly the passage of air as in, sh, z, So for this reason are called fricative. As in then, as in ten, as in face, as in zebra, as in zoo, as in city, as in sheep, shape. Okay, these are fricative sounds. Then we have the affricate sounds. Sorry. Fricative, these are the affricates. Affricate sounds, sorry. This is the fricative and this is the affricate. The affricate sounds are sounds, oh my goodness. The affricates are sounds very similar to the fricative sounds. Remember, the fricative is a brief block of the air and the affricates are made by starting with a plosive and immediately blending into fricative. So when we produce these sounds, it's very similar to the fricative sounds, but it's like a mix of plosive with the fricative sound. When we pronounce cheers, so it is like when we are going to pronounce a sound that is going to explode, so sh, but we stop the air. Sh, sh. The air begins to flow, but we could. Sh, j, 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 sh. Okay, it's partially blocked, but not as blocked as when we do with the fricative. In the fricative, we block most of the air, as in shh, shh, fewer flows. Shh, in this, the air flows little bit more than with the fricative, as in zzz. If you put your hand here, you're going to notice zzz, sh, is different to sh, 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 sh. Okay, that is the affricate sounds, as in cheers, as in Cheyenne, I said. Then we have the nasal sound. This sound is a little bit complicated because we use this part to generate this sound. Because in this part, the nasal sound, some part of the air comes from here. We keep the air inside of our mouth. We said, we keep the air. It's totally closed and is totally inside of our mouth. So for this reason, our nasal sounds, we said as in me, as in no, no, as in sing, king. Okay, these are nasal sounds. Then we have the liquid sounds. The liquid sounds are sounds that are very similar to Spanish. So these sounds are produced with a partial closure of our mouth, as in and it's not totally closed, our mouth is as in liquid, as in rose, as in river, and the glides are also considered semi-vowels. Why semi-vowels? Because in some occasions are considered vowels, in other occasions are considered consonants, as in water, as in wiper, as in, for example, university, use. They are called glides or semi-vowels. Glides are sound because the friction is modified with the position of the tongue and the lips. Some are going to pronounce or wa, or water, water. Okay, these are the different manners of articulation. Okay, when you are going to study phonetics, that is other subject, you are going to study this briefly, deeply, sound by sound. This is only a brief explanation about the different sounds of English. Okay, now we're going to talk about what is phonology. Phonology is different than phonetics. Phonetics is the study of how and where the sound is produced. Phonology is very close related to phonetics. In other words, when we talk about phonetics, we're talking about the physical representation of each sound. I can say, for example, that the sound of B is a bilabial stop sound. It's a bilabial stop sound, okay? That is the physical representation of sound. That is phonetic. If I said P, bilabial, bilabial stop. But when we use these symbols we have here, we're talking about phonetics, physical representation of each sound. But when we talk about phonology, is the real use of this. How we are going to use this sound, the system of particular language. Because even the sounds have, every sound has a representation, so the use or the rules that governs the pronunciation are different from language to another language. Okay, so I put an example here. what is a phoneme and what is an allophoneme. What is a phoneme? Phoneme is the smallest representation of each sound. Okay? And what is an allophoneme? Is the variation of the sound. That is the difference. So, for example, let's do something because it is necessary to explain this. When we talk about a phoneme, as I told you, is the smallest representation. So every sound is different. Okay, for example, we have, this is a phoneme, and this is a phoneme. In English and Spanish, book, vote, big, big. So this is a different pronunciation, but what occurs in Spanish? In Spanish, we have this. This is our allophoneme. What does it mean? It means that in Spanish, we don't use this. We said vaca, bueno, viene, bien, vena. We don't say vena. We don't say avena. No. We say dame avena, avena. So we use this. This is a mixture of both sounds. That is an allophoneme. So even these two sounds exist. In a phonetic alphabet, we use this. That is phonology. Is the real use of the language, how we pronounce the different sounds. So we said avena. We said vaca, bueno, viene, bienestar. We use the same sound for both letters. For both letters, we use the same sound. So that is the difference in phonology between phonemes and allophones. So when we talk about phonology, is how this pronunciation affects the pronunciation. So we have something that is called minimal pair. Minimal pair is how a sound, only one sound, change the meaning of a word. For example, we have here what sound is different here? Students, what sound is different? In the first one. The first sound is different. We say cap and we say tap. Cap, tap. So this sound change the meaning of the word. Here we have sheep and we say sheep. What happened? We have two different sounds, and this small difference changed the meaning of the word. We have sheep and we have sheep. Sheep, sheep. What happened with these two words? What is sheep and what is sheep? Do you know? ¿Qué significa esto y qué significa esto?
No veo.
¿No se ve nada?
No, profe, estoy lejos. O sea, se ve lejos pues, porque usted... aquí estoy tratando y no.
Okay, we have sheep, que significa oveja. Ship significa barco. So what does it mean? That this sound changed the meaning of the word. When I say cap, tap. When I say big, and I say big. Big, big. So we are talking about different things. But there are occasions in which.
Teacher,
Ajá.
entonces ese es el estudio de la fonología.
Phonology. Phonology studies how the use of
Entonces ella
phonetics over.
ajá, hace una clasificación de los sonidos y cómo se pronuncian. Eso es la fonología.
No, la fonología estudia cómo están o cuáles son las reglas que gobiernan esa pronunciación.
Ajá.
When we talk about phonetics, is how the sound is produced. I'm going to talk a little bit in Spanish. Cuando yo hablo de fonética, yo estoy hablando dónde y cómo un sonido se produce. Where and how a sound is produced. And it's the physical representation of the sound. For example, I have this sound. Ese es un sonido de... ¿Cuál es la representación física? Esta. Cuando yo veo esto, yo sé que eso se pronuncia poison, pear, parent. Este sonido, ¿qué es un sonido qué? Bilabial. Yo digo, ajá, es un bilabial stop. ¿Dónde se produce? ¿Cómo se produce? That is phonetics, is the physical representation. But when we talk about phonology, is the use of this rule. ¿Cómo lo uso y cómo va a cambiar? Y cómo son las reglas que gobiernan la pronunciación depending on the area, dependiendo de donde yo estoy. I'm going to give you an example. Le voy a dar un ejemplo ahorita mismo. Me dice si no ven.
Sí vemos, profe.
Muy bien. Ok. We have here two sounds of T. Let's see this. Tenemos dos sonidos de T. T, 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 T. Two sounds of T. So we have stop,
Stop.
top, and we have top,
Stop.
top. Ok, ¿qué ocurrió con el sonido de la T? ¿Qué pasó entre stop and top? Stop, top. ¿Cuál sonó más fuerte? ¿Cuál T sonó más fuerte?
El de abajo.
Top, top. Entonces eso se llama aspiration and non-aspiration. I'm going to explain what is aspiration and non-aspiration. Okay. Okay. Two sound of is the sound. This is this sound. Okay. So when I say pen, pen, cup, cup. ¿Qué ocurre con este y este? What happened with these two sounds? Pen, pen. Hay una explosión. Explosive. Okay? And when I say cup, instead of explosion, I release the air. Es decir, en Spanish, no hay una explosión, sino que es como que yo absorbiera el sonido. So I say, pen, pea, poison, pear. When I say cup, el sonido como que yo lo recogiera. Cup. So what is this? Aspiration and non-aspiration. Okay? That differences in sound is the study of phonology. ¿Cómo lo uso? ¿Cómo lo uso? ¿Cómo gobiernan esas reglas? Even I know this sound is aunque yo sepa que el sonido es van a haber ocasiones en que el sonido explota, en que no explota. en que aspiro el sonido. Cap, cap, nap. ¿Ve? Up. ¿Ve? Como cuando yo digo 10 minutes. 10
minutes.
10. Pero cuando yo digo I can't.
Ten.
I can't. No hay esa explosión. 10. Entonces, ese fenómeno se le llama aspiration and non-aspiration. ¿Ve? Let's give another example. Some differences in pronunciation change the meaning of the word, but other doesn't change the meaning. So what occurs with this word? How do you pronounce this? Have you listened? Léame eso, pronúnciame eso.
Water.
Water. A ver, otra pronunciación. Another pronunciation. Water.
Water.
Ah,
Water.
okay. Listo. Thank you so much. Okay, what occurred with this? We have water. We have water. And we have water. Yes or no? 3 different pronunciations. We say water, water, or water. Okay, what occurs in different places, they're gonna pronounce this word in different forms, but the meaning doesn't change. El significado no va a cambiar. No va a cambiar. Even if you pronounce differently, the meaning is the same. Another example. When we read this number, in United States, they're going to say 20, and in British, probably 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. But it is the same. 20 or 20, it is the same. Okay? Another example may be father, father in United States, father. Father. In British, my father. Father, my mother, my sister. Okay? So this pronunciation is different, but it doesn't affect meaning.
Teacher, a question. River. También es river, también le dice.
River, river, or river, river, river. So what is this? In this case, sorry, the pronunciation doesn't affect meaning, but there are other words that a bad pronunciation affects meaning. For example, if I said, okay, we have big and we have big. This pronunciation affects meaning. Cuando decimos big, what are we talking about? Big. Algo que es grande, big. But when we say big, what is big? Big. ¿Qué es big?
La pomada.
La pomada, el ungüento, ¿verdad? Big, big. In this case, this pronunciation affects meaning. Okay, that is phonology. How? It affects the meaning. Aquí sí lo va a afectar, ¿verdad? Porque si yo digo big, big, y yo digo big, I'm talking about different things. Estoy hablando de cosas diferentes, ¿verdad? Entonces, en español nosotros tendemos a usar este sonido como que fuera lo mismo. Porque cuando usted va a la tienda y usted va a comprar una latita de esa de Vicks, usted le dice a la gente, deme un Big Vaporub. ¿Verdad que sí? Deme un Big Vaporub. Okay, what is the correct pronunciation? Give me a Vicks Vapor Wraps. No, Big Vaporub. It's Big Vapors Wrap. So in this case, is the pronunciation that changed the meaning. So in some occasions, change the meaning, and in others, no. Okay, that is phonology. We have talked about phonetics is the physical representation, and phonology is the rule. Okay, fonética, la representación de cada sonido, dónde y cómo se produce. Fonología o phonology, las reglas que gobiernan, los sistemas que gobiernan el uso de cada uno de esos fonemas. Okay? Let's see with the next one. The next one is morphology. And morphology is the study of the structure of the words, as in English and Spanish. Okay? How a word is formed, the parts or the aspect of any simple or single word. Okay? For example, if I have here this word, okay, book. What is the meaning of book?
Libro.
Libro. If I add this S, what is the meaning?
Libros.
Libros. Okay. If I have book, okay, I have two parts, two morphemes.
Book.
The word and the S, that mean that is plural. Okay, it's plural. Plural. Okay? If I have this word, okay, imagine. Imagine. What does it mean? Imagine. Imagine. Imaginar.
Imaginar.
Is a single word. But if I write imagination, I add something that is called suffixes. Suffixes. So this is a compound word. I add a suffix. If I said happy, what does it mean, happy?
Feliz.
Feliz. But if I add unhappy,
Infeliz.
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 What does the prefix on means? No happy, no feliz, unhappy. This word is called prefix, and that prefix adds other meaning to the word. Feliz, no feliz, or infeliz. Okay? So that is morphology, is the study of the structure of the word. Okay, another example. If I have the word walk, this is a verb. What does it mean, walk?
Caminar.
Caminar. But if I add this, what does it mean?
Caminando.
Caminando. What I add? The ing form, that is the present progressive form, and change the meaning. If I have walk,
Caminó.
what does it mean?
Caminó.
Caminó. This word, this ed means past tense, past tense. So the base form is walk. If I add ed, past, ing, progressive. That is morphology. That is the structure of the words. Okay, let's see. Syntax. Okay. Syntax is the study of rules that governs the language. Okay, what is syntax? The parts of the sentence and the classification of words. Okay, students. We have different elements of the language, and syntax study how the words are arranged and how we talk and the order of these words. So remember that we have in language, we have articles. Do you remember the articles? An example, da. Da is an article. El, la, los is an article. We have adjective. Do you know what is an adjective? No, en español, ¿qué es un adjetivo? ¿Alguien recuerda? No. ¿No recuerdan qué es un adjetivo? No. ¿Es un verbo?
Una acción.
Una acción. If I say walk, it's a verb. It's an action verb. What is an adjective? It's the word that modifies the noun. El adjetivo es la palabra que modifica ¿qué? Un sustantivo. Noun es un sustantivo. What is a noun? Is the person, place,
Or
object.
Sustantivo no es que denomina como a personas,
Persona,
animales, algunas cosas. ¿Sí?
Good, good. That is a noun. Place, person, thing. Example, the chair, the boy, Maria are nouns. And what is the adjective? Is the
es lo que
word
califica o lo que se dice del sustantivo.
good. If I said good boy, what is the noun? Boy. What is the adjective?
Good.
Good. And what is the adverb? Is the word that modifies the verb. Fulanito runs fast. How he runs? ¿Cómo corre? Fast. Fast is the adverb because modifies the noun. So, and that is syntax. Syntax study all the characteristics of the different elements of language. We have articles, adjective, adverb, verbs, preposition. So these words have order in a sentence. For example, Luisa pays the bill. This sentence has an order. What is the order? Subject. Luisa is a subject. Verb. What is the verb? Pays. And the object. What is the object? What pays? What pays? ¿Qué paga? ¿Qué paga? Okay, this is the object. Luisa pays the bill is the object. And this is syntax, is the way we have to write something. Is the order of clauses, phrases, and sentences. Okay? Let's see another example. The cat sits on the sofa. Okay, what is this? First, what is this? Because I like. Because I like. Do you think this is a sentence or is a phrase? ¿Es una oración o es una frase? What do you think?
Una oración.
Es una oración, ajá.
Sí, porque le explico.
Sí, mi amor, explíqueme, a ver.
Bueno, the cat es el sustantivo. Sit es the verb. Y on the sofa es el predicado.
No, esta que está aquí, esto que está aquí.
Ana, es que yo estoy viendo lo que usted tiene acá, profe, en el... Lo que está proyectando ahorita mismo, es que allá no veo en el...
Perfecto, ya le ayudo. Ya le ayudo inmediatamente. Immediately. Immediately.
Immediately.
¿Logra ver? No.
Ahí veo un poquitito lo que usted ahí, pero...
Voy. Ahora dígame si logra ver.
Ajá, ¿qué dice ahí? Because I
like.
I like. Because I like. Porque a mí me gusta. No considero que ahí tenemos sujeto, tenemos el verbo y ¿qué sería lo otro? Un predicado.
Ajá, ahí es donde vamos y eso era lo que quería. Ok, esto es lo que estudia syntax. Tenemos un sujeto y un verbo y usted dice, bueno, pero if we have subject and verb, it is a sentence. In this case, this is not considered a sentence, no se considera una oración. Se considera una cláusula dependiente. This is a dependent clause. ¿Por qué es una cláusula dependiente? Porque aunque tenemos sujeto y tenemos verbo, even we have subject and verb, this structure doesn't have sense. No tiene sentido. Usted dice, porque yo quiero. ¿Tiene sentido? No. No tiene sentido. ¿Ve? But if I say, I go to the school because I like. Eso sí tiene sentido. I go to the school because I like. So this is a sentence. Yo voy a la escuela porque me gusta. Okay? And this is syntax, is the structure, the grammatical structure, the order of the words and the function. If I have the sentence, the cat sits on the sofa. Okay, this is a complete sentence, but let's see the function of this. What is the subject here?
The cat.
The cat is the subject. What is the predicate?
Sit on.
The rest of the sentence. So, what function has the word cat? This is the subject, but what is this? Is a noun, is an adjective, is an adverb, an article, what is?
It's a noun.
Is a noun. And that is an
Adverb. No, ese artículo.
Article.
article, okay. What is it? What is it?
It's a verb.
There.
It's the verb. And what occurs with on the sofa? What is on?
A verb.
Complement.
Look. On is a preposition. So we have here a prepositional phrase. We have a prepositional phrase, but on is a preposition. That is an adjective. And sofa is
A verb.
adverb, adjective, noun, verb. What is?
Adjective. Adverb.
Una cosa, es una cosa. ¿Y las cosas son qué? Sustantivos. It is a noun. It is a noun. Okay? It's a noun. So this is the study of syntax. Syntax study the order of the words, how they should stay. Okay? How we are going to create a sentence, a phrase, a clause. Let's continue. Me dice cuando logra ver mi pantalla nuevamente. Okay. Now we are going to talk about semantics. What is semantics? It's the study of the meaning. Okay, the meaning. When I say meaning is what the word represents. If I say marker, what do you think when I said marker? ¿Qué se le viene a su mente? What comes to your mind when I said marker? ¿Ver? When I say marker, what do you think?
Write. Escribir. Para escribir.
Something that I used to write. Good. Very good. When I said chair, is an object I used to stay, to see. That is chair. And that is semantic. Is the idea you have in your mind about the meaning of the word. What that word means. That is semantic. Is the representation, the abstract representation in your mind. Okay, let's see the examples. In Spanish, we said planta. Planta, you may think in two things. Something that is used in industry, planta, or a living thing, planta. La planta que se usa en la industria o la planta que es un ser vivo. So that is planta. So this word represents two things. When I said in Spanish, cielo, cielo, what do you think when I said cielo? ¿Qué piensa cuando yo le digo cielo? What do you think when I said cielo?
Arriba el cielo.
Arriba, la atmósfera.
Arriba el firmamento.
El firmamento. Y cuando yo digo se fue al cielo, ¿qué usted piensa?
Bueno, que se murió.
Que se murió, ¿verdad? Okay, so what can you see? Two connotations of the same word. Usted va a ver que dos connotaciones de la misma palabra. But it doesn't occur in English. For example, with the same word, con la misma palabra, no ocurre lo mismo en inglés, because if I said sky, el firmamento, ¿verdad? La atmósfera, ya. But when I said heaven, I'm talking about esa parte celestial, que se murió, se fue al cielo.
Right.
two connotations. Okay? So that is semantic, is a representation. Usted puede tener dos connotaciones para una palabra, como el caso de planta. Una palabra, one word, two things. Planta, ajá, la planta eléctrica, la planta donde
del pie.
la planta del pie, la planta que es una mata, la. Todas esas, la planta de las manos. Decimos, otros dicen la palma de la mano. Okay, but in the same way, in English we said heaven or we said sky. Okay. Dos palabras diferentes dependiendo de...
Y cuando es una expresión, digamos, siempre he visto en las películas de oh cielos, pero no sé cómo se dice. No sé.
Yes, ajá. That is another way. Es una expresión, es una expresión. O cuando dicen rayos, ok, rayos, no es que está ahí cayendo los rayos, it's an expression, rayos. Okay? So the same, with the same thing, let's see the other example. We say boda, matrimonio. We are talking about the same thing. Boda, matrimonio. Y si decimos nupcias, we are talking about the same thing. Okay? And that is semantic, is that representation. When I listen the word boda, matrimonio, nupcias, in my mind I have the same idea. Voy a tener la misma idea porque las tres palabras para mí van a significar lo mismo. But the positive thing is when I listen the word planta, cuando escucho planta, digo, ¿de qué planta me está hablando? ¿Estará hablando de una mata? ¿Estará hablando de la planta de los pies? ¿Estará hablando de una planta eléctrica? ¿Estará hablando de una planta donde fabrican algo? That is semantic, is the representation. Another example, we say, préstame una pluma. Usualmente cuando nos dicen pluma, nosotros pensamos en esto que tengo aquí, ¿verdad que sí?
Pero
no pensamos...
A ellos
esto,
se le designa también bolígrafo, profe.
Bolígrafo. Entonces se crea un conflicto aquí. Why? Because we have the semantic representation in our mind. Pluma, como esto, o bolígrafo. So, that is the semantic, is the representation.
Profe, a veces en el caso que uno está en el aula de clase, dice el compañero, préstame una pluma, y dice el otro, dice, ¿acaso que yo soy águila? O sea, porque realmente, pues, como usted dice, pues, en algunos casos, chicos lo ve como parte del ave, o de repente el otro sí le está pidiendo, pues, el bolígrafo.
Ajá, y los ticos dicen el lapicero. A esto le llaman lapicero.
Ah, sí.
And that is semantic, is the representation you have in your mind of the object. Si usted le pregunta, usted le dice a un tico el lapicero, la imagen que él tiene en su mente de un lapicero es esto que yo tengo aquí. Okay? And that is semantic, is the representation. And let's see the last concept. The last concept is pragmatic. Pragmatic is the meaning in context. Is the meaning in context. How? As I explained. Cuando digo cielo, yo te digo, ay, mi cielo. ¿Es una palabra de qué? De amor, mi cielo, mi amor. Pragmatic is the context. What does it mean? Que tú eres algo muy querido para mí. You are a person that I love so much. If I said, se fue al cielo, it means that he or she died. If I said, el cielo está nublado, okay, it means that it is cloudy. I am talking about cielo. If there is a person that his or her name is cielo, porque hay personas que se llaman cielo, okay, and that is pragmatic. Semantic is the mental representation about the word, and pragmatic is the use that I'm going to give to each word depending on the context. Por ejemplo, la gallina tiene muchas plumas. Préstame tu pluma. Okay, so it is the context. La luz está encendida. Fulanito irradia luz. So it depends on the context. So that is pragmatic. Okay, students, we have reviewed all the concepts about linguistics. So I know that is a lot of information today, but the only thing you should know is about what each branch of linguistic study. Phonetic study, the representation of sounds, how and where a sound is produced. Phonology, the rules that governs the sounds. Morphology studies the words, the origin of the words, and the structure of the words. Syntax studies the order of the sentence. Semantics, the representation of the word in our minds, in our brain. And pragmatic, the use of the word depending on the context. Okay, what do you have to do? What is your homework? Your homework is the next. Let's see. You have to do activity number 3 and activity number 4. The activities are in your model. Okay, activity number 3 is the executive summary. You are going to read the topic linguistic, okay? And you're going to do this. You're going to write the topic. Did you know about this topic previously? Yes or no? If it's yes, you're going to write what things. A summary about the reading. What did you learn? And what things you would like to know about this article. That is activity number 3. And activity number 4, these activities are in the platform and also are in the model. In this says group of 2 students, so I prefer 1 because it's difficult. 1 student, individual. You are going to create a map. About what? About the branches of linguistics, okay? Phonology, phonetics, a synoptic table with the concepts and the definition. That's the activity number 4. Okay? These are the 2 activities you have to do and send during the week. So, do you have questions about this?
The activity number 4 is about the...
Okay, let's listen. Maybellis. A ver, Maybellis, pregunte.
Es de lo que estábamos hablando ahorita, pues lo que estamos hablando ahorita. Actividad
Exactamente, exactly. Ajá. That is
como una
activity.
presentación oral de lo que vimos ahorita.
No. Es un cuadro sinóptico. You know what is a synoptic? Que le hacen como llavecitas. Or you can create, if you want, a map with a concept and a brief definition. Okay, Edith, you raise your hand.
Ajá. Teacher, lo que le quería preguntar, la 3 y la 4, todo está relacionado con el justo tema que nos acaba de explicar. Entonces,
está en el módulo, la información también está en el módulo.
Sí, ya había buscado algo en el módulo, pero el fin de semana, la semana pasada, yo pensé que eran todas las actividades, profe, y estaba sumamente, digo, Dios mío, pero acá un compañero, alguien me dijo que no, que nada más era la 1 y la 2, profe. Entonces, cuando abro la número 3, ahí es hacer, que creo que era el cuadro. Hay un
Llenen
cuadro.
ese cuadro,
Entonces,
llenen ese cuadro.
ahí se habla de todo lo que hemos, o en esta clase, que hemos tratado.
Ajá, ahí está el material y la actividad.
Ok.
De ese material que está ahí, usted hace esa actividad. Sigue otro material, sigue la otra actividad.
Okay,
De
gracias.
esa parte. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? No cierre porque tengo que pasar lista.
No,
¿Ok?
tranquilo.
Ajá. Y remember, review the concepts. ¿Ok? Because we will have a quiz next week. ¿Ok? Repase los conceptos. Vea la grabación nuevamente si usted puede. ¿Ok? About the concepts. A ver, no hay más preguntas. Si no hay más preguntas, voy a pasar la lista. ¿Ok? Let's see.
La entrega hasta el sábado, profe. O el domingo.
Hasta el domingo, hasta el domingo.
Ok, gracias.
Ajá. A ver, Katia. El que voy llamando se puede ir retirando si gusta. A ver. Vamos a ver. Katia. Alan. Ok. Alain.
Present, teacher.
David. David.
Él estuvo, profe, en el grupo, pero parece que tiene
problemas,
profe.
Ajá. Edith.
Aquí estoy, profe, present.
Elianis.
Present, teacher.
Mariluz.
Present, teacher.
Mariluz la veo, pero no la escucho. Mariluz, ajá. Misael. Misael. Rafael. Rosa.
Present, teacher.
Roselyn.
Present, teacher.
Jocelyn.
Present, teacher.
Okay, students. Students, that's all for today. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. And have a nice day. God bless you. See you next week.
See you
Bye,
next week.
teacher.
Bye.
Okay, teacher. Bye.
Bye.
Teacher, a mí me anotó, soy Maybellis.
Maybellis, sí, yo la anoté aquí, Maybellis.
Ok, chao.
See you next week. Thank you so much.